Hello and welcome to Mr. Addley's Phonics. This video is an introduction to phonics. I'm going to teach you what phonics is and how it is taught in schools. We should explore some of the key vocabulary and terminology, and I should give you some tips for helping your child at home. Following this video, I've made a collection of videos. Within each collection, there are a series of videos beginning with the first 6 most commonly taught sounds in schools. Those first 6 sounds are S, A, T, P, I, M. There's a reason why sounds are taught in such an order, and I shall explain this as we move on. So hit that subscribe button now and be the first to be notified of new videos as they are released. So what is phonics? If we think of our written language as a code, then phonics enables children to crack that code by learning to recognise the sounds and combination of sounds that make up words. In English, we have 26 letters, but 44 different sounds and 120 ways of writing those sounds. As I said earlier, each sound is not taught in order A to Z, but rather specifically. This is because the sounds are taught in an order in which they are collectively most frequently found in words. For example, the first 6 sounds, S, A, T, P, I, M, enable children to make words very quickly, very easily. Very simple words. We call them consonant, vowel, consonant words, or CVC words. These words, such as sat, or pin, or pon, even made up words, which are sometimes called alien words. They are useful for the child to learn how to build, how to blend sounds to make words. This is to give the child confidence that they can read. They are building words, they are reading words, they will write words, and eventually they will build bigger words and sentences and so forth. You may have found your child come home from school talking in language such as digraphs, phonemes, graphemes, trigraphs, segmenting, and you may be forgiven for thinking, what is my child talking about? Well, that's either because you weren't taught phonics as a child yourself at school, or you were simply taught in a different way. But don't worry, I'm going to explain the meaning of all these words, and I'm going to repeat throughout the videos. Okay, so first word is phoneme. What is a phoneme? A phoneme is a single unit of sound. Here we have the letter S. The sound the letter makes is S. Its phoneme is S. That's a phoneme. It's the auditory version of the letter. It's the sound, but it's a single pure unit of sound, and that is very important. For example, this is the letter M. It makes the sound M. Its phoneme is M. It is not M. A most common misconception is that this letter M, its phoneme is M. We must make sure we eliminate this at the end of our sounds. It's also common with the phoneme R. We don't say R, it is R. We don't say N, it is M. M is not a pure unit of sound. And if we think of the word mum, which is a very easy word to read and write, and children like reading and writing that word from a very young age, it is mum. It is not m-a Because is not a word. Mum is a word. Mum. Grapheme. The grapheme is the letter, is the easy way of explaining it. It's the visual representation of the phoneme. So the phoneme has the grapheme. There it is. That's the grapheme for As easy as that. So we have graphemes, we have phonemes. The graphemes are what we see, the phonemes are what we hear. Blending. To blend is to put our phonemes together to make a word. If we took the phonemes k, a, t, and here we have the graphemes k, a, t. We want to blend those phonemes together so we hear cat. Initially, the child would read that word as k, a, t. That's not blending. That's recognised phonemes, that's sounding out the graphemes that we see. But to blend is k, at, k, at, k, at, k, at, cat, cat. That's blending. We are blending the sounds together to make a word. Not all words can be sounded out, i.e. we can't blend all words because English isn't strictly phonetically correct. There are some words such as into or the or to. These words are known as tricky words, or some schools may refer to them as red words. These words your child would be expected to simply learn by sight. They cannot be blended, they cannot be sounded out. If we took the word into, for example, we would have I, N, T, O, into. So it's not possible to blend that word. We simply remember it as it is, into. The, very common word, we have t, h, e. Well, t and h together is th, and with the e on the end, that would make the. The is not a word, it's the. So the becomes a tricky word, it cannot be blended. I will explain all the tricky words in order that they are taught in schools as we go through the videos. Segmenting. Segmenting is the opposite to blending. If blending is to put our sounds together to read a word, then segmenting is to start with the word and to break it down. So to ask if a child can segment the word dog, we would simply speak the word dog and ask them, what is the first sound you can hear? What is the middle sound you can hear? And what is the final sound you can hear? Dog. And we would expect the child to hear d. Oh, d is the first sound. Dog, dog, d, og, d, dog, dog. Oh, it's o. So the second sound is o, or the middle sound is o. D, dog, dog, dog. I can hear g at the end. It's g. The final sound is g. That's segmenting. It's breaking it down. It's important to stress that at this stage, it is not important for your child to write it. Segmenting does not mean writing. If a child can simply identify the initial, the middle, the final sound, then they are segmenting, and that's an important skill, and it's a pre-skill to writing. It's a separate skill to writing. We don't need them to write it down. They could build words through magnetic letters, for example. They could have simple graphemes, flashcards, and build words with those. All sorts of different ways of building words through blending and segmenting. Writing, some children find it very difficult to write in the early years. It's a skill that comes at different times for different aged children. So it's important we don't hold them back. Writing can hold children back and may put them off. So if your child is a keen writer and wants to write, then fantastic. We must encourage it and provide those opportunities for writing. But if they're not, then please stay away from writing for the time being.
Digraphs. Remember how I told you that in English we have 26 letters but 44 sounds? Well, that means that some of those sounds need to be made by combining letters together. A digraph is two letters which make one sound. An example of a digraph would be sh. The digraph sh is made up of two letters, s and h, the letter S and the letter H. S and h together as a digraph make the sh sound. The digraph sh can be found in words such as shop, shop. Other examples of digraphs are ch, ip, chip, queen. You may notice that in the word queen there are two digraphs. We have qu and we have e. Queen. The word queen has got 5 letters. The word queen has got 2 digraphs. A digraph is 2 letters which make one sound. Trigraphs. A trigraph is like a digraph, except, as the name suggests, it is 3 letters which make one sound. An example of a trigraph would be I. The trigraph I is made up of 3 letters, I, G, and H. I, G, H. When we put I, G, and H together, we have the trigraph I. An example of a word with the I trigraph would be night. I, t, night. Another word with a trigraph would be tear. T, ear, tear. Ear is made up of the letters E, A, R. E, A, R. When those 3 letters are put together, they make the trigraph ear. The UK government for England has produced a document titled Letters and Sounds. This document, or booklet, is a fantastic resource which many teachers use as an overview for the progression of phonics. This document can be downloaded for free, and I will include it as a link in the comments below. Phonics is taught in phases, from phase 1 through to phase 6. In order to help your child best, i.e. to give them the best support possible, I recommend asking your child's teacher what phase of phonics they are actually in. Phonics is usually taught at the beginning of each day. Each session will last something between 15 to 25 minutes. In the beginning of phase 2, a phonics session may last only 10 to 15 minutes. It may be very, very short, but it will increase up to 20 to 25 minutes as the children progress through the phases. In the beginning, during phase 2, a typical phonics session may be learning the sound and then reinforcing the sound throughout the day. For example, if the children were to learn the sound s, then that would be taught explicitly for the first 10-15 minutes, and then for the rest of the day, play-based activities surrounding the sound s will be available for the children in their continuous provision. This may be, for example, a treasure hunt of toys beginning with the s sound. Some kind of sorting activity where they sort the s, a, and t toys and group them, placing them on the graphemes S, A, T. It could be any kind of treasure hunt. It could be a collaging of materials on a giant S. There'll be a number of activities, But what would usually happen is the session is very short. The teaching session is short. Then throughout the day, activities designed to embed learning would take place. In phase one, phonics is all about training the ear. It's about hearing sounds, mimicking sounds, and distinguishing between different sounds. This is a phase which isn't explicitly taught in schools. It's usually reserved for toddlers, 2-year-old children, even younger. Phonics happens at home in phase one without families even realizing it. Playing with sounds, distinguishing between the doorbell and the dog barking. Is the sound, whilst you're in the forest, of birds rustling in the trees coming from this direction or that direction? Different games we can play with children to train the ear. I spy, but using sounds instead of letters, for example. Asking children to repeat you, not just words or sounds from letters, but different sounds, made up sounds that you may create. But getting them to repeat it back to you is fantastic practice. And that's phase one phonics. From phase two onwards, the structure of a phonics session follows the same principles. First, we revise or revisit. That is usually around 2 minutes, and it's designed to recap what was learned in the last session or yesterday's session. Teach. This is the point where we teach something new, either a new sound or a new word or a new skill. Apply. Apply is the children's part, to apply the knowledge or skill that they've just been taught. A teacher can teach, but if children don't learn, then it's a terrible lesson. So we need to teach, but then the children will need to apply what they've been taught in order for the knowledge or the skill to be embedded deeply. The apply part would usually be some kind of activity, some kind of challenge or a task. Quite often, we like to get children moving in phonics, making it kinesthetic or physical. This makes it fun and exciting. The less time children can sit on the carpet, the better. In the beginning, for the recap and for the teach, naturally, children are sitting on the carpet. They are sitting, looking and listening. For the apply part, it's completely different. They may be running around. The classroom could be chaos. They could be outside. A phonics session can take place inside or outside or both. The apply part would often involve children talking to one another, asking questions to one another, assessing each other, even self-assessing. The apply part could be writing, it could be building words, it could be a treasure hunt, it could be finding things, it could be some kind of problem-solving activity. But this is the part where they are applying what was taught. Assess. Finally, at the end of the session, we will revisit the whole session, a kind of a plenary or a roundup of the session. This part, the assess, allows the teacher to determine how successful that lesson was. Sometimes lessons are very successful and sometimes not. Sometimes the majority of children would understand a new concept taught. Sometimes the minority of children would understand it. This would enable the teacher to effectively plan for the next lesson. Following this video will be the first collection. This collection of videos will be phase two. Each video will be about one sound. I shall show you how the sound is taught. I should give you some tips on what you can do to help teaching that sound at home. And also there'll be some resources which you could either download for free or make yourself. So please check the comments beneath the video and I shall upload new resources as I find them, as I come across them on the internet. As I said previously, if you see any resources or you know of a resource that you'd like to have, but you're not sure where to get it from, please comment, ask me, and I shall answer as best I can. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already, and please tune into the next video, Phase 2 Phonics, starting with the phoneme S. Thank you.